Shalom. Call hello Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them and taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. The brother Yahshua, I'm going to go over this high-level witchcraft real quick that's being exposed, and because it's being exposed by their own, if you will, these people are being targeted and knocked off. All right, some of these people have been putting out information for years, and this is how you know how close we are to the end, because they're going after their own, or the people that they need to stop, if you will. So this is let's get Revelation 12 real quick. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, who is the so-called white man, right, the Edomite, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Short time for what? To try to bring in his new world order and offset the prophecy so that he can continue to rule in his wicked, in all-out wickedness, what they call the new world order. All right, where they bring all their witchcraft to the forefront, show you what they've been doing for years, and try to live, in open wickedness, sacrificing children and drinking blood and doing all manner of things against Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. So now let's get some. And here's what's going on right now, and it has been going on. It's nothing new. Let's lock it. This is Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. In the NIV, he will turn their own tongues against them and bring them to ruin. This is what the Most High is doing. He's putting the spirit on some of these people to noise abroad what they know, to bring that information out. And now we see, who's being targeted for doing these things. Just like, what's this guy's name that brought out the chip information? The producer, Hollywood producer. Can't think of his name whenever I need it. Russell. Forget his name. Can't think of it right now. Russ, the one that did Trading Places. Anyway, he's not the subject right now, but he was put to death because he was a whistleblower, right? So he will turn their own tongues against them. Who is he? That's the Most High. Will make these devils snitch on themselves, right? All who see them will shake their heads in scorn. Well, when you find out that the world, right, is being run in straight wickedness from the top down, and the things that they do, which is normal to them, and their ability to act normal and hide it, okay, you just kind of shake your head. All right, so let's watch this. This is a different Russ Dizdar. And this is Pedro V. He comes out with some good information. We're going to watch a couple of his little vignettes. All right, he comes out with some good info sometimes. So right now, this guy Russ Dizdar was a whistleblower, and he was out. He was bringing out, that witchcraft that they've been preparing for. So let's listen to Pedro's going to set it up.
Hey guys, Pedro V here. I was going through the feed on social and I came across a post and it mentioned Russ Dizdar, and I guess he passed away. Now he exposed a lot of this occult too, especially with his book, The Black Awakening. Rise of the Satanic Super Soldiers and the Coming Chaos. He also did an episode with Josh Tolley talking about this ancient brotherhood, the Black Flame. I don't know if you guys know him, but I used to have Josh Tolley added on Facebook years ago on my original Facebook, and I was trying to get into these groups and crowds at the time. I was 16. That's when I first started getting into this deeper side of thinking on things. I remember joining these little sessions with Ron Paul Girl back in 2012. I remember Lisa Haven used to upload my content on the site beforeitsnews.com before she became a YouTuber. There was a time when Ted Cruz and Mike Lee was doing a little video session and I joined it. This was a time when I was just barely learning things and being very hyped about it. And when I was in the chat, I was typing a lot of paragraphs and things about Obama, his war crimes. And I could see Ted Cruz reading what I was sending because I was reading his lips and I was the only one writing so much in the chat. I felt like he was very sincere reading what I was typing at the time, and I really did see them go after Obama after this. And I'm not sure if that was just a thought to them to be a controlled opposition. I don't know. But at this time, I felt they were sincere, and they listened to me. So there's some respect to that there. I remember one time also back then when I joined the site on InfoWars, when they first started doing these little groups that you can make. I remember making these groups and also linking my social media. And these groups that I make, I was always advertising. So I was getting a lot of people to follow these groups, and it was always on the front cover. So the most liked groups was always on the front. Mine was always on the front advertising my YouTube stuff. I remember one time I got banned completely from their site. And ever since then, I was like, wow, Alex Jones, their site, they're like controlled oppositions. And they really don't like real truth tellers. I used to make videos back in 2010 till 2014 when they took me off YouTube. I had 1, 2, 3 channels. They all got taken down. No strikes, no warnings, just boom, boom, boom. There was also another YouTuber named Courageous Nerd Z. I remember him talking about collaborating on a video before he disappeared off YouTube. And that same year, they took me out too. I came back in 2017 to 2018, and here I am.
So it's a matter of time before they take him out too. Now this guy Russ Dizdar that he's talking about, all right, this guy Pedro who was just speaking right there, he makes some really good. He goes in as far as information, and then he compiles. He's really good at making informative videos, right? And what they're doing with these videos is they're basically blowing whistles, and what he's telling you is he's being watched, all right? And when the time comes, they're going to take him out. And the same thing with the men of the Lord. They're going to try to take us out, but we're being protected, all right? So we're going to jump up here to about 30, and we're going to listen to this guy right here in the little box down here. He's interviewing Russ Dizdar, and we're going to listen to some of the things. This guy here, that's not Russ. He's interviewing Russ. And let's see some of the things that he's bringing out and why they killed him. Okay?
And I know that I'm not going to be in on the inside.
So, of course, the devil is going to try to break it up. So here we go.
Track on any of this, so how can I and my listeners even be aware that this is happening? So we'll get into that on the other side. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back right after this. So Russ, before the break, I asked you a question, and evidently it's a popular one because we heard from a number of people over that break saying, yeah, how do we tell? Is there any way to tell? Like, are these people proud? Do they have bumper stickers, special rings, anything?
No. This is again where it goes down below that visible tier. You can do that with Masons per se. You can do that with, even those in traditional sadism. They'll reveal themselves along the way. You can be invited to something. So this is quite different because it's generational. It's bloodline. It's family. It goes all again back generations now. So when we talk about this, and again, our tracking deals with the infiltration of the church, the infiltration of the military. Here's what I'll say quickly. I believe after all these years, and I would say at least close to 30 in tracking directly, including going to Germany and Badelsberg and France and so forth, in tracking all this. that they, in the United States alone, they are in every city, every state, every location. They have been placed by design in military, law enforcement, within the whole structure of American society, in a sense, but also in the church. The infiltration, they begin to release them and send them by design into the body, into the church. PTL, look what occurred there. In churches where they come and they may first come and act like they need help and so forth. But if they are one of these SRAs, and again, they call themselves chosen ones.
SRA stands for Satanic Ritual Abuse, which goes directly into witchcraft and worshiping Satan and getting power and spiritual power on the left-hand side. All right? We'll listen to a little more.
And for Satan, they then are very dangerous because they can be very stealth. If they've shown up at a local church, it means the church has been targeted by a coven, that they are coming in, and up front-wise, this is where the danger comes in. Up front-wise, they seem to be just somebody you need. You're working with them, you're talking to them. But sub-personalities that are co-conscious, that is, they're conscious, they can be aware of you and see you, that are demonized, they can come in releasing demonic curses, spells. They can summon demons from, a simple ritual, and send and target a pastor and target a church. So how do you then know about them? Well, let me. In that 14-hour training, it does begin with becoming aware of this information overall. I believe again the Bible is spelled out infallibly and incredibly that there will be not only a new order, but there has to be the ground troops. You cannot have a political system, even in a small nation, without the soldiers. So I'm talking here about the soldier level of this vast, political, military, economic system that will be bigger than anything ever in history.
And just like Satan has his soldiers in place, sleeper cells, if you will, right in your face, and your friends could be similar. Well, here we are. We're the men of the Lord. We're the ground troops. Okay, you got the Air Force, which is the angels and the chariots. All right, and then you got the Navy, which are the angels and the chariots. Right. You got the ground force. All right, which is us. And at one time, in the beginning, there we were. All right, so we're just doing our job. We're doing what we do, and it's a spiritual war going on that we're going to win. It's already slated, all right, if you will. So this is the kind of stuff this guy was bringing out. He's telling, and we need this information because now we know who the enemy is. Because the devil has been revealed, but now this little extra information like, oh, well, these guys are, in the church, they're, the police, he's bringing it out, and they have been placed there, and they are actively working against us, right, undercover. Let's listen to a little more.
So these individuals, they can be in school, they can be in, your next door neighbor, they can be. Now, there's never going to be, and we have not seen where they're just an outward, symbol on the door, something over here. It just doesn't happen. Some of the individuals who are like high priestesses and so forth, it's very possible they can wear a small, tiny ring on their pinky finger. We've seen that. Wearing particular jewelry that might not identify, we don't know what it's all about, but it'd be charged. In other words, demonized jewelry, power rings, things they wear around their neck. When it comes to the military side, when they kind of sanitize this, brought into military, monarchs may have a small tattooed butterfly on their left ankle. Now, that's truthfully, on a visible level, Josh, you're not going to see that. So this is where. Now, you may begin to deal with it in a church. You might begin to deal with it in a counseling situation where you see episodes where these individuals that begin to break down, the programming begins to break down.
Okay, so there you have this guy divulging secrets and information, and therefore, there comes a time when he has to be put down. All right, so that's one. Let's watch. This is a different Pedro, and it's about this lady who got shot by Alec Baldwin, and he goes into why. All right, so let's watch this. And it's basically the same situation. She's involved in exposing the cabal, if you will, and what they're doing. And before, she hits the mainstream, they got to put her down. So that's
Pedro V here. Now I just want to talk about this and how eerie this whole thing sounds. If you didn't hear about this story, well, you're about to find out. Now there's a woman named Helena Hutchins who was making her way up the ladder from her work and talent, becoming huge and getting recognition.
Let's see. On her Instagram page, Hutchins identifies herself as a restless dreamer and adrenochrome, or Slovakia, adrenaline, which is adrenochrome, junkie. What is that? If you're in the know about, meaning she's involved in this stuff, but now she's flipping and she's about to expose what she knows, probably from personal experience.
Now there was a film set for the movie Rust being done in New Mexico. She was a photograph director, and it says here that.
And that's that Alec Baldwin situation that is less than a week old.
Alec Baldwin thought a prop gun was empty, didn't know it carried live rounds, and fatally shot her.
Now that's what happened to Bruce Lee's son. All right. So this is nothing new. What did Bruce Lee's son know? And why did they use this same method of execution on him? All right. And Bruce Lee was put down too. He must have knew something. He must have been involved in something, between Moab and these Babylonians over here. They were both trying to get him to, star in these films and so on. So, it got to the point where he was better to them, dead than alive. So let's listen to the rest of it.
Airlifted to the hospital and was pronounced dead. There is still an open investigation into this whole thing, but it'll be on the hush hush because we know there's something going on, which I'm about to shine light on. This also reminded me of what happened to Bruce Lee when he was on film set, and we know that that was probably much more sinister and not so accidental as we thought. Now,
Okay, now he's not talking about Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee didn't die the same way that she did. He's talking about Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, who was filming The Crow at the time. So he got that little information from, and I did a little research and found out that Bruce Lee was killed in his sleep or something like that. He was at his mistress's house, so it wasn't the same situation as this. He's talking about Bruce Lee's son, Brandon. So.
For Helena Hutchins, her next project was a documentary on Hollywood pedophile rings.
There it is. Okay. So here it is. She's in Hollywood. She's working with Alec Baldwin. That's the top of the food chain. Okay. And she knows, she's got information. She's about to bring it out. They know, right? They know. They got people placed in everywhere in Hollywood, in law enforcement, in military. So she done talked to somebody, and she was about to cause their tongue to fall upon itself, and they created a situation. So basically, that's all we need to know. She was about to expose, right? And then suddenly, oh, there's an accident with a prop gun. Well, we've heard that before. All right, so before this video gets long, let's go back and visit Psalm 64 one more time. He will turn their own tongues against them and bring them to ruin. All who see them will shake their head in scorn. Well, we see right now what this devil, they're turning on each other, which is Egyptian against Egyptian. These two people are working together. All right, let's get that real quick. Let's get some, what is it? Isaiah. All right. The KJV. Isaiah 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Well, she's one of them. She's a Babylonian, just like Alec Baldwin, on a Hollywood level. And this nigga pulls out a gun and shoots her dead and says, oh, it was an accident. Why? Because she was causing that tongue. And he will turn their own tongues against them and bring them to ruin. All right? So that's what's happening. That's what happened with Russ Dizdar. Okay? He's a Babylonian, and he's bringing out the dirt. All right? He's bringing out the witchcraft. All right? Let's get that. And then we'll go ahead and close. Isaiah 47. Let's go in here. Let's start right here at 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, that's your witchcraft, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Hollywood, all of that shit is enchantment. All right? For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. All right? She's bringing it out. Everybody is enchanted with Hollywood, or Holywood, or whatever, the magic wand, all right? And people still don't know about Walt Disney and the whole thing, okay? Where am I? Isaiah. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, that witchcraft, left-hand side. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside you. You think you're God over here because you got a little left-handed power. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and the desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now. Now Most High is going to clown. Okay? So all of this is coming. They're about to get taken down, and the Most High is lowering their left-handed spiritual power. Stand now with thine enchantments and with a multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. All right? Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, your covens, and let now the astrologers, stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon. The Most High is about to destroy witchcraft. All right? Let's get this real quick and we'll close. It's not coming up, is it? Exodus 22 and 18. Here. See, Esau been getting away with this for a minute, but we're about to, take the kingdom and set it up in righteousness. Exodus 22 and 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Do not allow a sorceress to live. You must not allow a sorceress. You shall not permit a sorceress. So, hey, the law We can keep the laws in the kingdom. All right? Right here. Death is the punishment for witchcraft. Put to death any woman or any sorcerer or sorceress who practices magic. All right? So, Janus and Jambrees, you don't have a chance in the kingdom. So with that, we hope that the elect were edified. And with that, we're going to say shalom.